Forget Melrose. 90210 was a joke. It's time to get real. You're listening to The Real Realtors of the 804 with Janice Taylor, Richmond's #1 award-winning realtor. Janice and the Taylor team are here to bring you answers, give you insight, and share their experience in the real estate world. And now, Janice Taylor.
Hi, everyone. It's Janice and the Taylor team, Jennifer and David, and we are so excited to be with you guys today. We're going to be talking about putting an offer in this ever-changing market. Well, we thought it was going to be changing. We thought it was going to be normal again.
Let me interrupt for just a second.
Yeah, we need
the red Solo cup that she's got rolling in here is not full of what a red Solo cup typically is.
How do you know?
Well, here's the thing. I like it's like Crazy Town just to get started on the podcast. So the red cup is just basically the underlying tone.
Fits in. The new setup, the seats aren't correct. They're not comfortable.
Michael
Height's
made us
not
buy
here.
bar stools, so we're at a whole new
It's
location.
either that or be really low.
Yeah. What? My hair?
No.
Oh. I thought I had high hair today. Okay. Me and Blake Shelton. It's the red Solo cup.
No,
That's
that's
right. Keep
not
it
fake
fun.
Shelton.
Yeah. Anyway, back to real estate. We really thought this was going to be a little normal starting 2023, but we are seeing 2022 all over again. And interest rates are up, but inventory is low. So we are seeing competing offers and a lot of, contingencies being waived again. So maybe once the inventory starts picking up again, which it will, we have quite a few new listings coming on the market that we're very excited about. We might see a little bit of a slowdown, but you guys, the interest rates haven't stopped you. So we're happy, 6.5%, 6.75%. When I bought my first house, it was 17%. So I don't really feel bad for y'all. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
I think we were a little over 8 the first house we
first
bought
house we
together.
bought.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're happy to talk to you guys today about competing offers, how we get our clients, buyers offers through. Hopefully, we're very aggressive if our buyer wants us to be. Some tricks of the trade, to get your offer, really seen and definitely have the seller review it very carefully. We want ours to be on the top of the list if possible. And certainly, we're happy to tell you all our tricks of the trade, as I said, to, keep you guys in the loop. And don't panic. We will find your house, no problem. But there are some good ones out there, and the market is still rising, so you're not in any danger, we don't think, of overpaying at this point. So
I'm driving a lot more, way out more than usual.
yeah.
It's like things are like in the area, not as like it just seems like it's like, oh, I'm like, really?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Not very
Well, I think the
centralized.
only thing that is maybe sitting for a couple weeks is stuff as you get further out from our, kind of city of Richmond. Beyond 20 miles, you might see something
Right.
that sticks on the market for a week or two. But if it's in great shape, if it's priced right, gosh, our recent listing, we put one on the market. There were 50 showings in a weekend. 50 showings, multiple contracts. So from the listing side, for our sellers, it's awesome. It's just like it was last year. You've got people rolling in over listing price, waiving inspections, waiving appraisals, all the things that kind of scared us last year. We thought would slow down, and they have not. So
No.
it's amazing to kind of go back through that.
But here is the pivot. The pivot is that the houses have to be well staged, in good condition. Whereas last year, we could put a house on the market with dirty towels on the floor, and it probably didn't
Never.
matter.
We did not do that.
We never did that. We never did that.
We
wouldn't
would
do that.
never. No.
We
but-
switched out towels in different rooms
Yes.
to
We'll do
take
that.
the photos.
Yes, we
yes,
do.
Yes.
But Bobby, quick, bring me those towels from downstairs. Anyway, that is really the difference I'm finding this year. The ones that are not at least show well or updated, have some cosmetics done to them, some lipstick, are not probably getting as many offers or as many overbids. And so we're back to heavy into, our contractors, our, consultations, which we've talked about ad nauseum with you guys, staging, which we never will stop because we believe in it so much. And that's why we do offer it for free to our clients. And I mean, the one we did, be sure to check our website and Facebook page, because we did before and afters on the one last weekend, which we got 8
Right.
offers on.
Yeah.
And we got some really good feedback on the before and afters on that. So those are the ones that are getting, the notice and the overbids.
So what's on the list?
So the list talks about inspections. It's talking about what you're waiving, how to go at it as a buyer, how to write your contract the strongest. But
Yeah.
I think it all starts with communication, right? When we're talking to our buyers and we're working through the few homes that come on the market, one is, hey, is something on the market this weekend to go look at? Many of them are coming on as coming soon. So it's kind of prepping. And we're doing the same thing from a listing standpoint, is we're prepping these houses, getting them out on the market early so that we can hopefully line up a bunch of showings. Showings go through Sunday. And if you're not one of the first people in there, it just happened to me yesterday. Scheduled showings for Thursday with a buyer super interested in a property. Next thing I know, I get a notification. It was the first day of showings on Thursday. I get a notification that's under contract. And I'm like, what the heck? You try to get an answer for that. Hey, how do I call my buyers and say it's gone before anybody ever saw it or before you had the chance to see it? And the answer is, we had a non-contingent, over-asking, waived inspection, waived appraisal, sight unseen offer. And you can get that aggressive. I mean, that's an option that buyers have. But without showing it to the market, without being active in MLS, you have to go that sight unseen direction. And sometimes people are willing to do that in this market. If they're knowledgeable, they may be a friend. They may have walked through that house at some point before. You don't really know what that background is.
Right.
But it's super frustrating for our buyers to call them and say, hey, the house is gone before you even had a chance to look at it.
Right.
In schooling the buyers, this is a whole new subset of buyers, 2023. Some of them were left over from 2022.
There may be,
Yeah.
But the new ones that are getting into the market right now are probably not thinking it is as volatile as it was last year. And, it's kind of hard now schooling, these buyers again to let them know, we're just going to be honest with you. You've got to waive inspections. You've got to come over the price. You've got to, be sure that, your pre-approval letter is with the contract. So that's, important for everybody to know, as it was last year.
It goes that direction where you're like, hey, before we go in, we just want you to know you've got to consider waiving inspections. And that's super crazy. But with the inspection side of it, some of our great inspectors will go do what's called a walk and talk. So you can bring them to the actual showing appointment at a charge, and they'll look at as much as they can in that 30-minute window to say, hey, I don't see any major structural things. I don't see a need for a new roof. I don't see a need for new HVAC. But I try to be realistic with my buyers on that too. I mean, if you're going to pay a guy $150 every time you go, I'd love to be paid $150 every time I show a house. But if you're going to do that, it's going to get pretty expensive just to go look at a house.
So let's role play. Say Jennifer's looking to buy a house. What kind of house do you want?
Land. I'd like some land.
Okay.
Pool.
Land.
The
Pool.
land's probably not going to be as competitive, although we just wrote 2 land contracts last week, and all 4 lots sold in 2 seconds.
There you go.
So land is usually not as competitive. So we could probably find something. It's just inventory
Let's
isn't
shout
huge
out
on
to our
land.
clients who bought the land.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
super excited to get to know the owners of the Good Feet store.
Yeah.
Two brothers, the
Yeah.
Cotton
Yeah.
brothers. They are out there and purchased 2 lots out in Hanover in a small 4-lot subdivision that came available. And these lots flew off the market. 10-acre lots, awesome spot. Perked, did everything that you need to for conventional septic. It was really, really a nice
So what's going there?
location. So
Homes.
well, yeah, they're gonna end up building homes. I think one of them will start a little sooner than the other one, but just a good spot to purchase and grab some land.
Watch out for the Taylor team being on one of their commercials.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Because Janice just started her membership at Crunch yesterday.
What? Really?
So, yes.
It's
yes.
about damn time.
So are you a morning workout person or
Yes. With
No.
the trainer.
No.
with a trainer?
Yesterday she was. Today she was not.
I'm
so
going after work today.
I'm proud of them.
Does the trainer know?
We've bonded. You see these curls today? I had to get Bobby to do that. I can't raise my arm this high.
Soreness. It's like when you go to bed with Tylenol, like
Right.
in your system, so
Yeah.
you don't wake up as sore.
I had a very good friend that he was really a good workout person, and he would just push it. And there was, at the time, I had a car that was a stick. It was a Mazda 6, and I was dreading going to my car because I knew, I was like, first gear.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, proud of him.
So anyway, we're excited when we can find property, and you've got a little. Although there wasn't much time to put those offers in on that property.
No.
One
Actually,
was gone,
one
right?
sold as we were trying to get another offer in, and we had a third family member that likely would have purchased one of the other two lots. And wasn't able to because they sold as quickly as they did. So, I mean, even with land, when there's a great location, that's a huge piece of it. Everybody always says location. And that's what happens with these new houses that hit the market. If they're in a great location, and like Janice said, if they are in great shape, they're going to fly. And you have to be ready. So, like, the role play is, hey, when something comes on the market, we need to be in there that first day that it's listed. In the case of sight unseen, there's not much you can do that unless your buyer is really ready to kind of take a risk and buy something just based off of the pictures, which we've got a great photographer. So, you could probably buy our listings sight unseen based on our great photos.
There's, the building side, it seems like it's kicking up a little bit where but it's more condos.
Tons of condos, right? Well, when you run out of space in an area, the developers grab a spot and they say, okay, how many can I fit into this? And you're seeing that even down on South Main Street. Eagle has moved into the city with a couple neighborhoods that are, hey, how many can we fit into this space? And you have to go that condo direction. But they're really cool. Contemporary look to them. Reminds me of some stuff we've seen down in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Kind of
flair that
modular
hasn't
looking,
always been here in Richmond. Richmond's always so traditional. It's nice.
Would you go to a
flair.
townhome?
I would not.
You would not?
We have too many
with
dogs.
3 dogs. 3 dogs. I am not walking
3 to
them every
4
time they go to
floors.
the bathroom.
They would need an elevator, a yard.
And the way they're building them now, I mean, no disrespect to the builders, but they're doing what they need to do. You've got 4 or 5 levels. The first 2 levels are one unit, and the upper 2 or 3 are another unit, usually the larger unit. So there's an elevator, but you do have to worry about back to your apartment days if somebody's too loud upstairs or too loud downstairs, or that sort of thing. But it's what we've got to do to put our people in affordable affordable housing at $500,000 and $600,000.
Exactly.
I was talking to one of our recent clients, and she bought over in Midlothian in one of these condo products, and she goes, I hate the stairs. She goes, I love the unit, I love the newness, I love the location, but I hate the stairs. And when you think about it, she said, my garage feels kind of small, so I got to kind of walk around the car with all these groceries, and then I got to go up 1 to 2 flights of stairs to get my groceries upstairs. So it's a different style of living. I think it's for some people. I think some people will get into them and decide, hey, it's not quite right for us, but so many of them have a great location. They'll have walkability to restaurants.
The walkability.
That you don't
That's
have
a little
in the
village
suburbs.
feel where, like Green Gate or something like that.
We finally hit the Northern Virginia market. That's what they've been doing for years. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just more and more like, and I roll up to them, and they are nice inside.
Oh,
yeah.
totally.
Oh,
But it's like 4 to 3 floors.
Right.
And I'm like,
You're not getting your master on the first floor.
no.
So back to the offer stage.
Yeah.
Once someone says, hey, I really want this house, or I want to get my feet wet with it, or whatever. It's, definitely kind of a sit down, understanding, our contract, which is a, standard Virginia Association of Realtors contract. And, just checking the right boxes to be sure that, the financing is set and you're competitive on the financing. You're not asking for closing costs. You're flexible on your move-in date. Oftentimes, the sellers are asking for what they've never asked for before. They would just take whatever closing date the buyer would give them. And now they're going, I'd like you to close in 30 days and we want to rent back for a year. Not really a year, but we want to rent back for 60 days is what most lenders will allow a rent back without considering it investment property. So, for these buyers to be aware that they can, if they're in an apartment, they can go on a month to month and they can give the seller what they want. That's a big piece of the puzzle, in the negotiating, process, I think, is the closing date, being able to give the sellers what they want. And of course they want to close quickly, so they're sure nothing will go wrong. And, certainly, waiving some of the contingencies, You want to talk about how the appraisal works?
Well, I think
most of you know, but
I think one of the things that we do well is that we communicate with the listing agents. You've got to have a great relationship with the people who are listing the properties. You've got to ask questions because they may tell you one little tidbit just based on the questions that you ask that help give your buyer an advantage, whether it is about the closing date or a rent back or a plant that these sellers really want to take out of the front yard. The cleaner your contract can be, the easier it is for them to sign off without any changes, without having to initial things going forward like that. So,
and also a good relationship with the lender. I know from a listing standpoint, when we get multiple offers, we oftentimes have the lender of the buyer call us or send us an email saying how clean the clients are, how well prepared they were for their pre-approval process. They don't foresee any problems. Just that connection, particularly a phone call, and it's on the weekends. I mean, these mortgage, kudos to them. They're working weekends. They're doing what they've got to do as well. And, sometimes just it really helps having, them call and say something rather than just a pre-approval letter that they've actually met their client and they're well qualified and all. So
yeah, and I think having somebody local that you've worked with before from that lending standpoint, that gives us a level of confidence that, okay, we know in the past such and such has closed all the deals on time, no issues, and that leads kind of into that appraisal process. Many buyers are having to consider waiving appraisals. Okay, if the house doesn't appraise at our contract price, what happens? Well, typically, they would be able to negotiate the price down. The appraisal clause in our contract says if it doesn't appraise, we can ask for the price to be reduced to the appraised amount. People are waiving that clause. People are saying, hey, if it doesn't appraise, if it's $30,000 short, we're going to bring that difference to closing. That's one option in cash, so we have the same loan amount. But I think a lot of the really good lenders will help them to adjust their loan amount, adjust their loan terms, whereas if they were going to put 10% down, maybe they only put 5% down, and then they have that ability to bring the cash to closing. So there's a lot of different ways you can work around that, but that appraisal clause, waiving that inspection clause, there's risk there. It's nerve-wracking. Some buyers just say, hey, I'm not going to pay more than I'm supposed to for the house. Well, the unfortunate thing right now is if you don't waive the appraisal clause, if you don't waive the inspections, if you're not comfortable, it can be really hard to get your contract accepted in that process. And
with that waiving of appraisal often comes, some documentation that, shows that they do have some cash in the bank, funds to, produce if they do have to bring extra money to closing. We had some real creative buyers on one of our listings last week, and they came in among the 8 contracts with contingency on the sale of their home, which the agent said, oh, this home's going to sell quickly. And we knew it would. There wasn't a problem with that. But we could not advise our sellers to take a contract with a contingency on the sale of another home. That hasn't been done in a long time. But more importantly, even though we knew it would sell quickly, then now we've got to worry about 2 buyers. We've got to worry about the buyer for our listing, the buyer for that listing, whether that closes or not. So their agent or lender, whomever, got very creative and advise their clients to, take care of, have a family member take care of, the contingency regarding the sale of their home. Don't know exactly whether they bought it in or they said that they would, they were able to remove the contingency regarding the sale of their home with documentation to their lender. And ultimately, they're the ones that got the house, right?
They are.
Yeah. We're real happy for them.
So we were on the listing side on that. The
Yeah.
communication from that buyer's agent was consistent through the weekend where they were saying, hey, are we going to be competitive with a contingency? And after you have multiple offers that don't have a contingency, you're like, it would be tough. We have to handle it ethically, right? We can't give away the numbers in the contracts. We can't give away everything. But if there's communication back and forth, hopefully you can get to that stage where these people say, hey, what do we have to do to change it? And they made all the right calls.
That's crazy because most of the time, or not most of the time, but some agents don't even acknowledge.
There is that. I mean, there are people that will put in MLS, hey, we're not talking to anybody. Here's the terms we need. Don't call, don't text. And I can't imagine doing business that way where you just turn everybody off, because it should help your sellers. It should help your buyers to have those conversations. So if you're really representing your client, I think you're open to communication. I mean, that's what we're getting paid to do, is to help get our sellers the best deal that works for them or the best offer out of the group.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't want to have multiple conversations going on, because things fall through.
Yeah.
all the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Have your backups ready.
Yeah.
I think one of the coolest things that Janice told me years ago, as we started to get into this texting world and email world.
Janice was telling you about texting?
Janice, well, she's telling me
Well, wait,
not to
this
text.
goes-
Yeah,
this
let's
goes
get
back
to
to old
this.
school.
I thought it was the
Get to
bird.
this. So you get through those 8 contracts, and you've got 7. And Janice and I, we said, okay, let's call the people that didn't get it. Worst phone call ever is to call these agents who have written, a spectacular offer. Their buyers have gone $20,000 or $30,000 over the asking, and they don't get it. So you've got to make those calls. We're not the type. Janice said, hey, you're going to call these agents, and we're going to, we've done this for years. I can't tell you how much agents appreciate getting a phone call about that. Not seeing the status change in MLS and not finding out until they see that change.
You get emails saying, sorry, you didn't get
That's
it?
what it
Some
mostly
people
is
do
to
that.
these agents.
Some people
I think.
text and say you didn't get it. And some people just change the status in MLS
Yeah.
and you have no idea. And then all of a sudden your buyer calls and goes, hey, have we heard anything yet? Because I see the status changed.
And although we can't disclose the terms, the buyer's agent, loves that conversation with us because they say, what can I school my buyer on? What helps? And we can give them, we can't disclose, numbers or anything like that, but sometimes we can say, hey, in certain situations, this might help to give them, an easier closing date. You guys were pretty firm on your closing date, or,
No contingencies.
Yeah,
They waived inspections. They waived appraisals.
Right. Talk about being creative. David was very creative with one of our clients this week, I think. Kudos to
I
you.
don't know about this.
what'd you
Well,
do?
we have a buyer that a great client of ours who's, I started with in my neighborhood a long time ago, and now we're selling homes for his children, and now they have grandchildren. And they called David to put the house on the market. They sold them a while back, and he kind of said, and they said, we need to sell our house, and he kind of said, especially the townhome market now, whew, that's really heavy. And you were able to have them decide to. Jennifer and I are going to, consult today, and we'll be putting that on the market quickly, so that will sell, and they're ready to move in with mom and dad for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And is that the right? What's
Yeah, I
going to
think-
happen? That
I
you told
did
them to
that
do?
for 1 month with my in-laws.
You
1
hated
month.
your agent.
I just, we found the house.
Oh,
We
that's
found-
right. You told me that.
Yeah, we found the house, and my wife knew an agent that we went to, but that one was unique. I don't know if I told this story before, where it was a corporate move,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it fell. The person
Oh,
who was
right,
buying
yeah.
it fell through, and then we just
Jumped on that.
jumped on
Scooped it
that,
up. Mm-hmm.
pretty quick. So we were in 30 days. Thank God.
But like Janice said, this was a conversation we had to have. She is, ready to roll. She wants to buy something immediately. She, in her email to me, she goes, do I need to cool my jets? I said, let's talk to your lender, who she had a great relationship with. They just bought the townhouse a couple of years ago, and had a great relationship with them. Talked to the lender over the weekend. Then we circled back, and 2 days, she said, what do we do? And I said, well, you can't be contingent if you want to be in the neighborhoods and areas that you like. And said your options are either to go to a rental. We can try to get you a rent back as long as possible, or do you have somewhere else to go? And she goes, I'll move into my parents' basement.
Which they used to live in a while back while they were waiting to buy a house.
So they know what they're doing. They've got the grandkid now, and the parents would love to have them come back there for a short period
Parents
of
will
time.
probably never let them leave. We're
Yeah.
never going to get them to buy something else now.
That's right.
Just kidding. I know their parents
But it's
well.
all, it was all setting expectations and having that conversation with the client and saying, this is the world we're in. What do we have to do to make all this come together? And we'll meet with them. I think they'll do the staging consult today and hopefully get the house on the market pretty quickly while things are super hot in their neighborhood.
Yeah. We may already have a buyer for it.
Well, we want to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think so. Oh, my
This
turn
Jennifer's
now.
on.
I was quiet today.
You're on it.
Well, thanks for watching. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our podcast, and we appreciate every watch we get. So thanks so much.
Cheers.
To the red cup.
Red,
Cheers.
Red Solo Cup.
We hope you've enjoyed today's episode of The Real Realtors of the 804. If you have a question you would like to ask Janice or her team, please reach out to them at realtorsofthe804@gmail.com or 804-921-9995.